Hello, everybody. Oh my goodness. We wanted so badly to like put a new intro for this one night special, but then we got sidetracked and then whatever. And the next thing you know, it was here. And look at Tiffany Bryan is the first one
My
on.
girl.
We have missed you. We've missed everybody. And Henny's on. Look at that. And
Hey,
Nancy Green is
son-in-law.
on. Thank you so much. And make sure you share everybody. Let's let everybody know that we're here. But Tiffany, you have been rocking it, girl. Like you look absolutely fabulous and you've maintained it. So that is what is absolutely fantastic. So excited. So everybody, thank
Milagros.
you. Gail is here. Milagros. This is fabulous, everybody. Thank you so much. My
It
sister's
is.
here.
Listen, we've missed all of you, and we're so happy to see all of the tribe, the original tribe. Like, wow, thank you, because it does make us feel like, okay. But, going back to the intro, I watch it, and I feel like a little girl. I'd be cracking up to see us cracking up in that video. I think it's like the best thing.
Yeah,
I love it.
That's what I'm saying. It would have been so nice to have made one, but then I just I couldn't figure out because I couldn't figure out how to do it. I could have done it myself, but then we didn't have time to ask Francia to make it because she was the one who made it for us. But thank you everybody who's on, and we really appreciate it. We see you all on Facebook, and don't forget we also have it on YouTube for those who want to jump on YouTube. That would be great. But yes, we are here. We are back. And oh my goodness, it has been a year, very interesting year. And we just want to catch up with everybody. We want to see how all of you are doing. And we want to talk about, we have some questions and we have some things, but I know, how do you want to start, Gladiator? Because we decided that we're probably going to go, I don't know, a couple hours, we never ended on time anyway when we did the 60 show. But we have a lot of catching up to do. I said we have a lot of catching up to do.
We do. And Tiffany, we would like for you as well to share in the comments. We have some questions that are pertain to like what we want to know from you, but I think that that with the questions, be honest about them, and they're simple because we also want to share our answers with the questions. That's why they came up. But yes, and that's what it is, Nancy Green, that it's all about what we've been up to in this past year.
All of us, not just me and Gladiator Guru. It's we want to know what you've also been up to.
Because we haven't right now.
Because we haven't connected with a lot of you. It's not anything personal. It's just I have such a rough time with social media that I just don't post much. It's very sporadic. I'll do a bunch and then I won't do a bunch for a while. But there's a few people. Hey, Kathy, how are you? Kathy's on YouTube. There's a few people that we've stayed in touch with, like Gail. Gail and I've talked several times, and so I know what's going on with Gail. And but still, we would like for you to all put it into the comments because bring us up to speed, and maybe by us asking the questions that we have written down, that might get things moving and grooving. So hi, Vicky Correa is in the house. So wonderful to have you here. All right, so how do we want to start this? Do we want to start like with your question and then you start bringing people up to speed and what you experienced over the past year? And because I think it's been
just recent. I just wanted to talk recent. What when I discuss is Diane Keaton,
yes,
and her passing, and we look at the age, and that's not old. 79 years old is not old, even though hi, Edie's on from Spain. And I'm trying to like redo a look because I loved Diane Keaton, and it was when I read it was like if it was somebody I personally know, and I know that's cliche, it's a Hollywood star, but I mean, if you went on her page, she did so much more than just be in movies. And then the Badass Buddha was talking to us about, it's sad, and it's like, it's sad, but it's the balance of life, right? It's that's the ultimate price that we pay for everything. But what do we learn? And for me, what I told Badass Buddha was that, like, that we've all had many deaths in our families, and it's a constant reminder that we need to stay present in our now, and we
Yes.
need to stop the busyness that we're engaged in that's outside of us, and really take a look at where we are and appreciate everything that we have. Not so much what we're doing, but what we have. Um, and when I say that, I'm referring to, and you can add on, Badass Buddha, I'm referring to eyesight, to speech, to hearing. We have two arms, we have two legs that we can do, we can become anything that we really set up to do. And if we're in our present, if we're in our now, because everybody reaches that point of we're no longer here.
Yes.
And why wait for this? Why wait for retirement? Why wait until the kids are grown? Why wait? There's no waiting anymore. I mean, if anything's been obvious with how the world is moving lately, we don't have time to waste time.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Well, look, a whole year has passed since we last saw everybody,
It's already the
and
20th.
and we're almost at the end of the year, and we started Viva 5 years ago, and so it's like time is just so fleeting, and it just moves so fast, and you blink. Like I keep saying, I blinked, and it was Labor Day weekend. It was Labor Day, and then all of a sudden it's the end of October, and that's just the way it is. And even now my kids are saying it, because usually you see that when we're doing the adulting thing. When we're doing the adulting thing, time goes by so much faster. But then for my kids to actually say, my gosh, I can't believe, especially my youngest, I can't believe it's like October already. And then I hear that, and I hear her say it, I was like, oh God, that means it's even faster for us, because we've got so much on our, this and this and this and going and going. Gladiator Guru, and one of the things she's going to mention, she did the Camino this year. It seems like months ago that you did it. It really wasn't that far, but it was like you're already back X amount of months, and it's that's the way it is. So we have to be in our moment and really enjoy, even if it's not perfect, even if it's not where we really want to be.
But what is perfect?
Well, that's true. That's true. You got me on that one.
And that's a setup. Like Gail says that she's becoming very aware of how much people care and love her. You know what? And that's why we have to be grateful. Like really sit and be grateful that we have the eyes to see the people, for us to even love. Because love, it does, just because you love doesn't mean they have to love you back. But and the vision to see it, and the hearing, and the voice to voice out, like leaving words unsaid. We were talking about that before the show, whether it's to stand up for yourself, or to really confess that you love somebody, or that you like somebody. We don't have time to waste time. Like, instead of numbers on a clock, and I don't know if you can see a purse hanging back there, right there. You see that?
That's a purse?
That's a wristlet that I painted. It's a clock. And instead of numbers, every hour says now.
Oh,
now.
That's
because
nice.
This is all we have, is now. And so we are so with the busyness that we are forgetting our own essence.
Yes.
And when we do that, we cannot appreciate people around us, because we're not appreciating ourselves. All we have is now. And I say this all the time. There's no, I'll save it for later. I'll do it later. I'll do it tomorrow. Because one of the things in this last year I noticed is I was falling back into that. And no, so then, we have to say no mas, and we can't do this, because life is about leaving the dishes and going out. For me, with my grandkids,
Yes.
life is about, it's late, okay, staying with my grandkids so that their parents can just enjoy alone time, because that's also very important. But that's the gift in my now that I can give. And then all the gifts that we can receive that doesn't include anybody, which is sitting with yourself, saying, Margie, how are you today? Because that's what I've been doing a lot lately. Margie, what is it that we had to finish? And you know what? I'm not, if you've seen in 4.5 years, you've heard me say, I don't make notes. I don't make a to-do list. Well, that's what I did last night. I made a to-do list, and I did everything on that to-do list by 11 a.m. today. And I'm quite proud of myself.
Very
Why?
nice.
Because I committed to myself, because there were things that I should have done last week. So when I speak about what we need to do, what we should do, what we should think about incorporating and adapting into our lives, is because it's stuff that I have failed myself with. And we're all we got. Go ahead, Laura.
Wait, keep going. I'm doing my. I forgot my role. Like, I forgot I was supposed to be like.
Sorry, we do that. But so it's about fun, right? It's about, it's about learning who you are, so that you can introduce yourself to who you are, so that then you can accept everything of what you are and work on the little things that you don't like, not that might offend somebody, but that you don't like. Because at the end of the day, nobody can help us. Nobody can come and rescue us from ourselves.
Yes.
Nobody can fix us. You can read 50 million books and listen to 20 million podcasts and watch The Badass Buddha and I, but it's ultimately what? Your choice. So choose you. No matter what's going on around you, choose you. Whether you like who you are at that moment or not, it doesn't matter. Choose you. Because if you're choosing yourself in your now, then you know what you need to remove, to add, to change, or permanently delete.
That's a harsh one too. Permanently delete.
Delete. That's it. And I so when we become one with ourselves, and we know we all have flaws. We know we could do better. We know we could, just tweak a little things here and there, little baby steps. But then we want to take the whole of it and says, I'll do this next week when I have time. Baby steps. If you do this, like, yes, to me, I'm so proud of myself, because I sat down and then I added some this morning, but I actually sat down and made a list of the phone calls I had to make and the emails I had to send. And when I woke up today, that was my mission. And I'm going to be 57 next month. And I'm like, wait a minute. I could have been doing this a long time ago, because it felt good. But you know what? A long time ago, I wouldn't have appreciated it.
But you weren't, so Gladiator Guru and I talk. So we there's so many things that have shifted. Even the conversations that we would have when we were doing the show, and things that she would say. I said to her, there's our last conversation last week, and I said, I'm so happy to see that you're in a different place now, because you used to say this, and this, and now you say it this way, because you have decided that you have a monetary value, and you are, like, one of the things that Gladiator Guru used to say was, money's not important to me. I don't care about money. Like, I do what I do. And then she said to me, and I'm paraphrasing, it's not exactly how she said it, but basically she values herself to say, you know what? I make these wonderful things. I have this insight to offer. I coach, and I value myself, my time, and what I charge. And I was like, I'm so happy to hear that you're saying that, because sometimes that's what gets in the way of our success is what, well, it's not even sometimes, what we believe ourselves to be. If we don't worry about that, well, then it won't come. Hey, you didn't worry about that, then we don't need to come to you,
because my problem, I mean, it's not even a problem. What happened to me all my life is I've had money, I didn't have money, I've had money, I didn't have money, but none of those levels broke me, and none of those levels that I feel like I didn't have or not worry about anything. I always remained who I was, because I never went without in any of those instances. But I heard something and then I read it on a whole different platform. And I took that as the message from Yahweh. Like, when we are given a gift and then we feel, because, we're generous people, or because we want to help as many people as we can, that we're going to just do it and not charge them because I'm helping them. And it was like, no, if you've asked for financial blessings, if you ask to live in abundance, and abundance is not always necessarily money, but
Yes.
abundance,
But it
and you
helps.
have been given the gift to live that life from Yahweh, from my higher power, then what are we saying to him by giving it for free when that gift was given to us so that we can live abundantly? Doesn't
Yes.
mean we don't help. It just means that we go out there and we still, we keep and we give, fairly. So when I heard it, I watched this little clip on it on YouTube, and then it resonated, but I didn't really really. That's not me, that sort of thing. And then when I read it, and then when I was reading the Bible, one thing that clicked me, I just said a prayer and I opened my Bible, and it came to Jeremiah when he says, "For I know the plans I have for you to prosper you," and there's more to it. And I was like, it came, like, I saw the video, I read that little passage again because I've shared that on my page before, but it just hit differently. And then I read it and I was like, oh, Maron. So I have been sidestepping my blessing. I have been not being honorable with the gifts and the talents that I have to assist others, to help others in any way, to lift them, to plant that seed in their ear, whatever it may be. So when I spoke to the Badass Buddha, she was so happy that that I took that turn, because this year for me, even with she and I haven't even been that much in communication throughout the year. We've spoken, she's been to Connecticut, and so and we've had lunch. She's come to the studio. But if anybody noticed, I'm not that prominent on social media. I really haven't been around. I have been enjoying my company. My solitude has been my saving grace. So yeah. And for everybody, I am so grateful to the Badass Buddha, because she knows how to say hello to everybody, but it's like, hello, everybody that's been on. It's not that I'm not seeing you
I'm
anymore.
trying to keep up. I actually forgot that was my job. And I'm just sitting here and I'm going, oh, dang, wait a minute. It's like really piling up. Like, I better go back and start.
And she does great at it. So everything that we were, just to backtrack a bit, because, I talk fast, is she noticed when I was speaking about it, when we had that conversation, and she immediately clapped for me. She, and it was a women on women celebratory moment, because that's what we need to be with one another. And then it just confirmed more what I was saying. And sometimes we do, it's the old thing. Family and friends won't buy your product, won't pay for your coaching services. They tell you, oh, here she comes again. But there are people out there who are willing to see the value within you and the value of the product that they will be purchasing.
Yep.
And that's what we look for, because, when somebody says, I talk about all this, but But what about me? And remember, we spoke on many episodes of Viva. And sometimes I went back during the year, I went back and saw a couple about when you are in charge of the lighthouse, you don't see the light, you share the light. And sometimes that's just our role in this human suit that we have on, is to do that. But if it wasn't for you, your role is very important in this world. So keep shining with whatever it is that you do and keep growing. And if there's anything I can say is, don't submit to fear. Do it afraid. And Lori, I want her to speak about her book.
Let's talk about your question. So your question that you came up with, and then we'll go to mine. But what was the question that you wanted to ask everybody? Because that we already started doing this, but we want to get really the ball rolling. So what your question was? What?
I don't know. I had quite a few.
But no. What was the first one? I think it was the year, right? It was, what did you?
Yeah, it is. In this past year,
words, we know that. That's very true.
It was in this past year. What goals had you set? It could be 1, it could be 10. In the past year, from October to now, last October to now, and what was achieved? Go. And once we see you guys writing, like, what goals did you set? It could have been, I don't know, to wear sneakers. It doesn't have to be a big goal. It's just something you were going to.
Where the hell did that one come from? To wear, my goal is to wear sneakers. And I have achieved it numerous times.
Well, see, there's people who don't wear tennis shoes. I didn't start wearing tennis shoes until later on in life. Like 5 years ago.
It's just a fucking.
So no, but what I'm saying, that's just an example of how, don't think
24/7.
Don't think that any goal is too small, because it's not everybody's goal. It's yours, and you matter. You matter. So tell us your goals.
Look at Kathy's got enjoying life more. Yes, very good. I said a goal to collaborate, and I'm now part of a team healing millions via my training. Okay, Gail. And I also am writing another book. Yeah, Gail has been like crazy busy. She's had a lot of stuff, and she's just, Gail's always flowing. And it's just, you can't, you think you got her talking over here, talking about one thing, and all of a sudden she's already moved on to another thing. So Gail has been absolutely on fire. Let's see what Nancy, my goal was to have better communication with my daughters, and it has been achieved just by listening first. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Right? What do they always say? We have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. But that is sometimes where the lack of communication or the miscommunication comes in, is the fact that somebody doesn't want to listen. So good for you, Nancy. That's awesome. Iritza, to have boundaries. That one's a challenge.
You're doing excellent at it,
so
Iritza.
Good for you. Let's see. Janet
Remember,
says,
boundaries isn't a set limit. You have to build boundaries. It's like, to me, it's every day when we meet different people. So yeah.
Oh yeah, and you get challenged all the time. The minute you start trying to put your boundaries up, there's always some dumbass that's gonna come.
There's always a trigger.
Yeah. And then you have to, and when you get mad when they step on them, you're like, you have to understand that you can get mad. It's absolutely, you have every right to feel what you feel, but then you have to face the facts is that, and this is where my question comes in, but it's, if they pissed you off because they stepped on your boundaries, maybe that boundary wasn't so strong as you thought it was. So it's like, redirect. I have to fix something here because I should have been able to keep that sucker up. So I was kind of not, I was off my game a little bit. So these are all really, really good. Let's see. So Nancy said, okay. And Janet said, healthier version of myself. Michael was great. Michael, let's see, Tiffany, here we go. Tiffany is repair family relationships, is speaking to family I haven't talked to in years. Oh, good for you. That's awesome. I myself am cutting family out, and that's working really well for me.
It's just as good.
All right. So going back to school to complete 1,000 machines. Yes, Diana. First off, Diana never goes a year without goals anyway. Like Diana always has like 100,000 of them. But, and I'm not shocked. Diana's always been a great student. She was a student of mine. She was a perfect student back then. So this is nothing new, Diana. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not making it. This is awesome. I'm so proud of you with everything else that you do. Let's see. All right. Gail said they can step on my boundaries when I do not have consequences. Yep. And Tiffany says release and let go. Yes. In fact, I just finished reading a book. If you have not read it, it's a really, I highly recommend it, but it's by Mel Robbins, and it's the Let Them theory, and it's wonderful. And that's what it talks about. It's let the people, let whoever it is do what they do because they're adults, and then let them and let me. So let them do that and let me do what I need to do. And it's absolutely wonderful. Lynn says to retire, and I did it in August. Awesome. Congratulations. I myself am planning to work until I'm 95 years old because I have a lot of catching up to do. But it's still a goal, you know. In fact, I was talking to my financial person, and I said I really would like to try to work until I am what year? Let me see, probably about 70, because my job is so physical. But if I could go to 75, that would be fantastic, you know.
I don't want to work that long.
Well, but for me, it's not necessarily work. Like my goal is to have a lot of passive income, so that's like part of the work, you know. But oh no, I want to have fun. I don't think I don't want to have fun. I have my goal was to build up my practice. I really don't do as much coaching as I used to, but my goal was to build up my practice, which I did. It's also to have events and do like a whole bunch of other little things, education, wellness, and health and all that stuff. And I've been doing it, but I've done a lot of waxing and waning, like back and forth, because I have learned about myself that I tend to go all in with one piece and then neglect something else. And so I had to reprioritize. So that was another goal of mine, was I had to, because that's the thing, you could set a goal and you can achieve the goal or sometimes not achieve the goal, but you also, as you evolve, you realize that maybe that goal wasn't as accurate as you needed it to be. Like maybe that wasn't the proper direction you needed to go. And as long as you redirect and set a new one, then it's wonderful.
That's perfectly said, because that's also something that we need to understand. And when we learn to love and appreciate ourselves, we can set a goal and 6 months later, it's like, I don't want to do that no more. And you have every right to change your mind.
Yes.
Without bullying yourself about it.
Yeah. Yep.
You have every right to say, oh, okay, that sounds like a good idea 6 months ago, because the involvement that we seek and then we easily dismiss because, oh no, but I said I was going to do this and I told everybody. Who cares?
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to follow the path that leads you to being the best you can possibly be, and that's going to make you happy and proud of the human you are.
Okay. And sometimes, like, so what I learned was, so I did my 2 events this year. One of them I lost money on, like the dance event. I lost money on it. I still like the idea of it, and I intend to do it again, but I decided to kind of push that to the back a little bit. Sometimes it's a question of maybe it's not for me to actually do. Maybe it's somebody else is supposed to take the ball and run with this, but it's a great idea. It's about community. It's getting people together, moving and exercising together because you're just having fun and you're doing these dances. But maybe that's not my thing. Maybe somebody within my organization will take it and run with it. Maybe somebody else will take it over and I'll just let go of that piece of it. The Wholeness Expo that I had was good. We did really good for the first year, and I have every intention to do it again next year. the goal for me is these are businesses, so they also need to be making money. And so if it's not quite hitting the mark, then I have to decide what I need to change and what do I need to do differently. And all in that, my practice sort of didn't go anywhere. It just kind of stayed the same amount of people. It wasn't really growing because I wasn't putting the time and effort into that. And I started to think about this. I'm like, I actually really love what I'm doing. I love the type of chiropractic work that I do, because I don't do just, you come in and I adjust you. I do all this body work and myofascial work and all this stuff. And it's like, and passive stretching. And I'm like, nobody else really does that. So it's unique to me. And I'm getting such great feedback from my patients. So this is what I want to do. And I love it. I love coming into my office. I love having people come. I love when I'm busy. And so now I want to shift the energy so that I'm busy, busy, busy. And then I created my budget, and this is how many hours I want to work, and this is how many days I want to work, and this is how many vacations I want to take, how many weeks I want to have off per year. And this is how much I need to make to pay myself this amount. And I have to tell you, Chat GPT has been a godsend in that sense, because I really have a love-hate relationship with AI. But in this case, I'm not good with numbers and budgets and all that stuff. So I just had I told Chat GPT what I wanted for the business, and it created this incredible budget and like all this stuff. And it was wonderful. And I looked at it, I was like, wow, okay, that's what I need to do. So it helped me get more in alignment, which is the name of the business. But it took away the piece that I'm really not great at. And I don't want to hire somebody just yet because I don't have it in my budget. So it sort of filled that piece of it. And I was like, that's great. So that helped me with my goal. It kind of, it solidified it for me.
Oh.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Gail says, I give myself permission always. I really do not set goals. Right. And we know Gail had said that a couple of years back, that she's sort of let goals go. I gave up on a contest that I submitted one entry for. The next day I got an email that I won 2 sewing machines from there. That's so fun. So she figured out
awesome.
She's not going to get anything, and she won 2 things. That's fabulous. I love it. Also became a gym coach for a few of my the motivation given me to help me so much. And
I wish you lived closer.
And that's really, you became a teacher now. See, the student became a teacher, and that helps you stay accountable. But that's also your nature, Tiffany, is you love helping people. So this is, now you're helping them stay healthy and get into shape, and it keeps you there too. That's fantastic, Tiffany. I'm not shocked.
And really Kathy, what Kathy said, I'm listening to my body. That's one of the conversations we had a lot since the beginning of Viva, actually. So I'm glad, because when I speak about being busy, and it's because, as the badass Buddha just said, she gets so focused on one thing that the rest is like hanging, like swinging in front of us. Hello, I'm here. We're so sidetracked.
Don't forget.
Yeah. So and that happens. And with Gail, setting goals to me is exactly what you're saying. When I wrote that last night, I felt really good, because it helped prepare me for today. Because if anybody knows me, I'm always winging it. Like, I am a good procrastinator. I'm the procrastinator that knows I get it done. That's why I procrastinate.
Active procrastination.
Yes. I follow. Well, I pray, and then I pray until I feel it, and then I follow it. But sometimes, we do set goals, and when it crashes, we learn. And when it goes well, then we learn. There's no mistake in any of it. We are constantly learning. But if you don't allow yourself to listen, what happens? What happens, Laura? The pointing outside of you, because you're not learning within. Yes. So then your goals, which were probably, and I don't want to sound, which were probably all a reflection of where you're failing at, right? So it's everybody else's fault and problem.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the mirror. Yeah.
Flap in the mouth, because you're rather than focusing on you, you flap in your mouth, and you're looking at everybody else and pointing everybody else, and noticing what they're doing, not doing. And man, I'm going to tell you that no matter, this is what happens when you don't pay attention to yourself, and you don't continue to work on yourself. You fall into that trap. I fell into that trap this year, and I was flapping my gums and saying stuff and putting all the focus on to other people, what they're doing and not doing. And then lo and behold, it was a wonderful distraction away from my own crap and what I was not doing. And that was also part of the problem. And then to finally come to terms with that and say, okay, that this is ridiculous. Like what, and that was my thing, was what role did I play in my successes and my failures? What role did I play for not hitting the mark exactly where I need to be? And patting myself on the back for the role that I played that was positive, but then owning the part that was negative. And so when I finally just shut my mouth and said, I'm focusing on me, I'm not worried about anybody else, all of a sudden the energy completely shifted. And now things are like a whole bunch of very interesting things are happening in a positive way, because I just shut my freaking mouth.
We mentioned this earlier. We are responsible. What Gail just wrote is so powerful. Read that.
Yes. She has no problem pivoting when she has to. I'm the only reality that is, so my focus is me, and I choose from my heart. Yep. There is no
That's
negative.
how it should be.
Well, thank you, Gail. I appreciate that. There is no negative.
Hi,
I
Melissa. That's how I started off with. That's how we started off tonight. If you go rewatch it, it's exactly what she was saying. This is all we have. This is all we have. And if we were not listening to that intuitive voice that only wants the best for us, that's always good, that will navigate us onto the right path, then what are we listening to? The negativity, the indecisiveness, the fear. So we have to come back to us. Like, one of the biggest things that I feel I've lived, that has happened this year, is me. Now I've gained weight, and that's okay, because when you gain, and then I have to release it. And that's why I wish Tiffany was near me. I do my weights every morning. But one of the biggest things for me was my non-reaction to things that piss me off about me or whatever. And that's, if you know me, you know that's huge. So what did I learn this year? Not so much learn, because I learned it last year, but that I really put into play, and I'm quite grateful for myself. And that is that I've learned how, if I hear or see something, or something is spoken to me that's out of pocket, I breathe. I pat. I hum, and I smile. And then I remove myself. I walk away. I go into another room. I just leave. This has happened, and it really hit me on this last Camino, because this last Camino, I met people. It was a bigger range, right? So we did the Camino Portuguese. So I had some run-ins, and then we walked into Spain, and then from Spain we stood in Santiago a couple days, because that's my gig, and then Iritza and I went to France, and we stood in Saint Jean, and we walked up the Pyrenees Mountains, and then we walked halfway down, because it was so like this that I was like, So spaghetti legs. And then from there, we traveled to Madrid. Our friend flew in from Florida. We met her in Madrid. Immediately, once we connected, we got on a train and we went to the south of Spain. And it's a different breed. I love Galicia. So that's the south of Spain, Almeria. So, even the dialect's different. So we were in many cities there. And then we went to Morocco, and then we came back to Spain and finished the trip back, around Sevilla and all that, back to Madrid. So we came, and I'm not only talking about the Spaniards. We came into contact with a lot of people from different cultures that are living in Spain. And when I tell you, Maronemi, they were the ones with the most attitude. Now, I'm not telling you that I just did my breathing technique and my smiling and humming all the time. No, they didn't do that, because sometimes you have to, show up. Yeah. But the majority of the time, and okay, I apologize, whatever, mala mia. But I did good. And then it carried on throughout, up until today. So it's about what's better for me. Okay, I know what I'm capable of, and I'm never gonna not be La Margarita. I'm always going to be her, but the battles we choose at the moment, and sometimes we don't know. So, for instance, at one point, I was so fed up already. It was really fed up. We were still in Santiago, and I told Iris, I'm kind of fed up with, with this discernment is really testing me. That's what I said. It's really really testing me. Like, I don't know if I'm trying to get it right with Jesus, but I don't know if this path is really going to not become very unstable. And then I said, but we don't know what everybody's going through something. We don't know what that person's going through, that maybe they needed to be in my energy space, because the energy that we have, sometimes it's a comfort with no word spoken. So the taxi comes to take us to the train station, and he gets out and he just putting the stuff in, and I took a breath. And I'm like, okay, we get in the car. So with an attitude, I said, and how was your day? And this man breaks down crying about how much pain he's in. There's nothing, I guess, his insurance that can cover for his back pain, shoots down his leg. Then he starts crying because of the pain. He has to work because he has a family, but because of the pain, he can't go home and play with his boys. And so I look at Iris and I was like, you see, we don't know what people are going through. And that's why I can say that celebrating this involvement in my spirituality, in my spirit that comes forward, I'm really, really grateful for the woman that I'm evolving into in that part of moving out of survival mode. And it's been a many year process of actually moving out of that place. And I think that I think for the most part, I'm good.
Which I'm going to tell you is not an easy feat nowadays, because so many people are living in survival mode. It is actually, you're actually allowed to behave badly nowadays. You're allowed to speak what's on your mind right at that moment. You're allowed to be reactive. Mm-hmm. It's almost expected. And to actually take the step back and not react. And I mean, that's what mindfulness is. It teaches us to go take that step back and respond, not react. And that is using discernment, using sometimes just walking away. And it is when you master that piece of it, that it's the most courageous thing you can do sometimes. Where other people will look at, they go, oh, that person, they didn't say one word. And it's like, you don't know what I'm capable of. So it's actually a good thing that I stepped back, But nowadays people just are reactive. They say what they feel, and it's always a big thing. And I don't disagree necessarily. I mean, I'm not going to tell a person how to feel, or lessen what they, but I can only take care of me, just like Gladiator Guru can only take care of her. It's what is our contribution? How are we going to show up? How are we going to react or respond? And yes, sometimes you have to react. It's just maybe you don't have to react as much as most people are. There are times where you have to bring it up.
Yeah.
There are times, but
Well, absolutely. You need
that's
to. You
important
thank you,
enough.
Iris. I think that's what I'm saying. And I'm always going to be her. I'm just choosing wisely, not so much for them, but for my peace. I don't want
Yeah.
to be stressed. I don't want to be trying to figure anything out. I don't need to show my strength or my power. I know the power that I have. I know my strength and I definitely know my courage. But I think the humbling part of watching that grown man cry all the way to the train station,
Mhm.
um, that was a lesson. That was a very, very important lesson for me because I just said we don't know what people are going through. And then I got upset. And then that's what came out of it. And to me, that was here you are. And so stay on the path, because we're gonna get a pebble in our shoe. It's gonna be uncomfortable, but what
Sometimes
do
more
we
than
do? Do we
one.
beat up the pebble? No, we take our shoe off, we take it out, we keep going, you know so i think um I think that's part of life that we got to understand. We, again, assumptions and expectations, just learn who you are. It's never too late to introduce yourself to yourself. And you might
Yeah.
not be the same person next year. But for now, of what we have today, do that. Look in the mirror, introduce yourself to yourself. What do you want to do? Do you want to take just do what makes you happy? Because if you're happy, then all those around you are happy.
And do what makes you happy on the inside. Like that, these are the questions you have to ask. I mean, this is where we always went with all our shows, was learning about yourself. Because don't do what you think makes you happy based on what other people are doing. You have to be you. So, and I have a bad habit, and this is something that I constantly have to remind myself is, again, it's not about outward, it's about inward. So it's none of my business what other people find, how they find their happiness, I don't have to agree with it. I don't have to believe that that's a true happiness, that maybe they're doing this or doing that because they want attention, or it's feeding their ego. It's more, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because if I take my time worrying about that, I'm giving my energy away to that person. Whereas if I just say, well, this is what makes me happy, and if somebody comes into my face and says, oh, well, why would you like that, and that's so stupid, okay, you're entitled to your opinion. That it works for me. And I am very authentic. Like I know we never really like that word. I'm very genuine. Like I know, and I don't expect what makes me happy to make other people happy. So I'm not going to push my stuff on them. This is my life. My life is, going in and stepping on chicken poop in the barn and collecting eggs and, picking up dog poo in the yard and doing, like, among other things. But that's not for everybody. It's, and I don't sit there and say, whoa, you should do this or you should do that. Nope. But I also, if you're going to do it to me, I'm just going to kindly bow, like nod my head and be like, well, good for you. Like that I know clearly what it is that I love in life. And I'm happy doing the life that or what my current life is. And it's not an easy one. It's a lot of work. It's exhausting. I got to get up in the morning. I got to take care of things. And there's days where you're like, I just want to get up in the morning. I just want to lay in bed and sleep a little bit longer. But there's like animals that are relying on you. And it's like, you know what? I signed up for this. So, maybe the kids can help out a little bit more today or something like that. And they do. But I've had people literally tell me, "Oh, why would you want that? Like, why are you living like that? Why would you want to have that life like that? It's so much work. It's so much this." And then I'm like, but it's so relaxing at the same time. It's like I'm an outdoor person. I'm an animal person. I'm a farmy person. So I'm in my happy place. Do I like to travel? Yeah, my kids and I went out Saturday for the day, and then my sister and I are planning a trip to go to Italy next year for, the summertime for
Yay.
2 weeks. We're going for 2 weeks. What does that mean? How do I go for 2 weeks when I have all these animals here with all this livestock? And it's like, guess I got to find somebody to house sit for me and for the 2 weeks that also likes this lifestyle but doesn't get to do it. So you just find it, just you put it out there and it comes to you. Somebody will always come and say, well, I got somebody that'll house it for you at a reasonable price. And perfect. Oh, but that's going to cost you a lot of money. Not if I budget now. If I start saving money now and say, well, I already know I'm going to have to put money here and got to pay for the tickets and I got to do that. It's what I expect, but it's a reasonable expectation because
Of course it is. I was in Spain.
I
I
like
was in
it.
Europe for 2 months. I was in Portugal, Spain, France, and Morocco. And
Love
it's
Morocco.
how you do public transportation. Anything. Listen, the only thing you cannot do is what you choose not to do. That's it.
Yep.
That's it. And I mean, I've said this to blue in the face, to myself as well. But you know what I love? That when I have to repeat something to myself is that we're listening. We listen all the time and we do better. We just need the encouragement. And until I can say, oh, I'm okay, we did it. But what is it that we do? Sometimes we have to sway and come back. Like when you stop doing something and then you didn't think you want it and then you miss it, or you're like, oh, wait, whatever the case may be, you come back to it. I'm not talking about a man. And you do this circle thing.
No.
We just, you know what? We don't need to wait. We don't need to arrange anything. And we don't need people telling us how we should and should not do things. Because you're going to become angry. You're going to become like give up on everything, because the bottom line is you don't have control of how you do things. Why? Because you haven't introduced yourself to yourself. Because you know best what's for you. And yeah, we put it out there. But when people are like, oh, but you asked. And I'm like, no, it was, I was asking myself. I just said it out loud.
You get angry. You'll get angry when somebody does that to you. You'll get angry when you are not checking in with yourself, right? Mm-hmm. So again, it's you're putting too much attention outside. But when you are grounded and somebody's saying you should do this, you could just sit there and smile away and be like, okay, because deep down that's not what you're going to do. And you're not upset about it because you really don't care what they have to say, not in a mean way. It's just, that they don't know anything about you. So let them talk. When it gets to us is when we drop our boundary a little bit, or let that we're having a little vulnerable moment. And then we let it out. And then all of a sudden we feel like the person is stepping on the vulnerable moment. And that's when that happens. If somebody gets to you and says, you should do this and you should do, why are you doing this? And it's bothering you. That's when you have to step back and go, how did I allow that to bother me? Because I allowed it to bother me. So how did I allow it to bother me? So what do I need to work on now? Because they found a little spot. They found a little crack in the boundary, and they got in. And I wasn't guarding that spot. All right, let me see what I need to fix here. Okay, I need to be clear. Are they saying something that's pissing me off because I know that they're right and it's something that I don't really want people to know about, but now I need to work on that. And then you do, and you have to know that it's always. It sometimes sucks to realize you still have more work to do on yourself. But if you understand that it is lifelong And evolution is great, and constantly bettering yourself is a wonderful thing. Then you won't get so mad about it. You won't get so upset about it. Because when I finally came to at the end of the summer of the person I was starting to creep back and become, about 2 months before that, you know what I said to myself? This is very interesting. I said, gosh, I haven't read anything in a while. I haven't listened to a podcast. I haven't like really done any work on myself. And I went, I guess I didn't really need it. Oh, that I'm telling you, that's God's way of like giving you, oh, really? All right, let me see what I got for you. I really think that I just triggered that, and I'm like, okay, thank you for the reminder. And now I've gone back into that spurge of like reading, like all of a sudden I'm reading books and listening to podcasts because I was like, oh, yes, I have more work to do. Get going.
Every day is, and Marina wrote, you're so right. You have to live your life the best you can while you can enjoy it. Absolutely. You know, what the badass Buddha was saying is true. But you know, when we not but, I didn't mean to say but because I agree with her wholeheartedly. You have to choose you, even when you feel that you didn't make the right choice. Because if you say, oh, I shouldn't have done that, you made a choice. And then how else were you ever going to discover that that is something you don't want to do or that you don't need to do that? Is unless we fall into it, whether we chose it, whether we happen upon it and then, dip the toe in, or whatever the case may be. There's nothing that we should regret in trying out and doing because it all served the purpose of us learning a little bit more about ourselves. If there's anything that you can take away from tonight's show is that you matter. You are the most important person in your life. And stop sitting on what ifs and maybe laters. And if you can do something you really want to do now or prep for the weekend, do it. If you want to go before the snow falls and go walk on the beach and walk barefoot on the beach and let the cold water, do it. Get the sand in your car because that's a memory that you can take with you because nothing else materialistic you can. So let's stop worrying about what am I going to get or what should I do or what should I say or whatever. Just do it. We all grow into something we want to be. And I'm going to keep saying this throughout the show because the gratitude that I have for self, even a conversation I had the other day with the badass Buddha, I think it was 2 weeks ago, about self-sabotage, because I feel going back, one day I sat there, I don't do anxiety at all. I don't sit down and be all melancholy about what used to be or what happened or whatever, nor do I anticipate what's going to happen. That's never been something that had me like, oh, I'm stressed or I have anxiety or nothing. That's never been my gig. But I do like to travel down memory lane. And I like to remember things that I used to do. And then I found myself saying, why you don't do that no more, Margie? And then I'm like, nah, because that was for that chapter. I used to make all that jewelry when Eric was alive because it served a purpose during the ALS hostage situation, or I don't do this because that was there and I learned it and I just don't want to do it anymore. And why do I continue to do the other things that I do? And it's because there's a passion for it. And I look back and, people used to say, what do you do so much? Yeah, I am. I do because I'm not afraid to add this and do that and say this. I am everything. You ever saw that meme? I'm the director, manager,
do they say that with disdain? Why you do so much?
Yeah, why you do so? What is it? Well, just what is it that you do? I breathe. Okay.
And I like
that's it. I breathe. So what's up? because why do we have to be just one or two things? So I've always been somebody that likes to try everything, and then I stick to the stuff that I do. Like, I like to come in my studio and look at my paintings, and I love to come in here and just be like, wow. And sometimes I'm like, wow. Like, you see the lady right there
Yes.
with
The
the
red
breast
background.
and everything.
Yeah.
I sometimes I'm like, that's what I used to look like. Right. And then I'll bring somebody and I say, and this is where I am now. See the green hair lady? But in all of it, I'm beautiful. I'm beautiful. Because why do I mind if people who have come up and say, "Oh, you gained weight"? Yeah, I have. I'm enjoying my life with my granddaughters. That's it. Can it come off? Absolutely. Do I have to work hard at it? Absolutely. But if nothing good is easy, because you see, when you gain weight, it was easy to eat all that stuff or not move or
So
exercise
much
or do
more
whatever.
easy.
So I'm okay with who I am today. I'm not looking back and and really being upset and angry and disgusted with myself anymore. You know, or how did I do this? And I'm not looking forward to 2 3 months and saying, well, in 3 months I better have lost this much weight. No, you know what I do? I still love myself. I talk to her and I'm like, okay, we gotta let this go. Let's do this. Let's do this. I get up, I do my little weights in the room. I'm participating in my life today for the woman that I am today. And I think my biggest braggadocious thing is that I love me. When I make poor choices, when I procrastinate, and when I achieve. My love doesn't go up and down. I'm not a roller coaster. The way is, but I'm not. So I love myself and all the choices that I make. And some I have to be like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, but hey, it's done. What am I going to do about it? Next
Yes,
step.
that's exactly
What are
right.
we doing now?
Yeah.
And even traveling all through Europe, and like I said, we only rented a car once, but it was all public transportation, and we missed a couple buses, and stuff like that. But what is there to be upset about? Okay, when's the next one? Guess what? We're sitting here for another hour, and then we meet people while we're sitting there. There's nothing that can go wrong unless you allow yourself to fester in that, oh my God, I can't believe this happened, or be upset because someone else didn't get up on time. No, this is where we're at, what we're going to do. And that's how we got through it. 3 women, all in menopause, hot flashes, cold, whatever, traveling through Europe. And we did not have not one argument. Why? Because we respected each other for the women that we are. If, give me a minute because I'm upset, or the other one would be like, let it go, and that's it. And that's what you do. Why? Because we're adults and we got to be responsible. And we're women who's supposed to love women no matter what walks of life they come from, what they've done, what they've accomplished, what they've survived. We meet them where they are. And if they're not for us, we leave them where they are.
Yes. Yes.
But you
I
never
love that.
second yourself. Yeah.
Love that.
So
Love that.
it's about, like, Kathy, if you can speak a little more about the new moon. You say your refrigerator went out and something else went out, both on a new moon. Hi, Richard. But we have to allow ourselves to stretch and then get in that fetal position every once in a while, and and yell and hum, do whatever that makes you feel okay. Your nervous system is important. Hum. It's a lifesaver for me and anyone else around me. It's a lifesaver. You hum or you sing, but move. Get that nervous system on check, and be you, and be brilliant in all that you do, because it is right here in your hands. Me, it's like I've always said, it's God, me, and then everything else. And I've come a long way. I can say I come a long way. When Badass Buddha and I speak to you, it's because if we had known then what we knew now, we would have been different people, but we couldn't have because we needed to be the people we are today to help the other ones come up forward without all this extra baggage. But did we break with all that extra baggage, with all those unhealed wounds, with the scars that run deep? No, we didn't break. We're freaking warriors, you know? So I think I spoke enough on mine. Go ahead, Buddha.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so
Yeah, you're
much. I appreciate
welcome.
I think this year for me, it's really another reminder of when I get worked up about something, when I get mad about something, when I'm focusing on something else, it is my way of deflecting from myself and not wanting to deal with certain things, not wanting to stop and take a moment for myself and really look at, and not necessarily the bad stuff, like to say, oh, you need to work on this with yourself, but it's also about taking stock in the things that I am doing right and I'm doing well, because there's that part of me that doesn't want to admit that stuff too. Is, like Gladiator has always been good about that, but I've struggled with that for whatever my reason is, from, I don't know, stemming from the way I grew up, I don't know. But when I am doing something right, when I am good at something, I almost still want to play small. I don't want to make a big deal of it. I don't want people to know. I don't, oh, this can't possibly be wrong. I'm just going to stay quietly here. And I struggle with humility a lot. I have a very, I view myself as a very humble person, and I love that about myself. But you have to be very careful of, there's being humble and then there's staying like under the rock. And I've caught myself staying under the rock a little too much. And then I got mad at myself for staying under the rock. And that's when I started pointing at other people and getting mad at other people, because really I was not getting mad at the right person. I needed to get mad at myself to say, enough already. Stop worried about that person. Worry about you, what you're not doing, and jump in there and just be who you are and accept it. I've had people, this is very interesting. I've had patients they'll give me a tip, and I laugh because I'll joke. Now, I don't like getting tips because I look at it, I say this to them. So if you go to the dentist and you get the root canal, hey, thanks, doc. That was a great root canal, and here's $20. You don't do that. I get it with massage therapists, but as a chiropractor, I don't take it. But what they do often is they'll say to me, it's not really a tip. It's more that you really don't charge enough for your service, and I'm paying you because we went a little longer today, and you need to accept it. Like, I've had a couple of my very close friends say to me, you need to accept that. And I'll say, well, I'll just credit you for the next visit. They're like, no, this is for today's visit. You need to accept that. And I've said to myself, wow, how I struggle so hard with that. And that's because I've struggled with the fine line between feeling like I'm entitled to it, to being like, I want to be humble about it, but I also have to be realistic and say, you know what? I did take a long time, and I did put my heart and soul to it, and I am worth charging this much. And I thank you for seeing that when I didn't even see it or didn't want to admit it. And I thank you for pushing it on me, and I will gladly take it. And I've even had one of my friends tell me, you really don't like taking it, do you? He's like, you really don't like doing that. He's like, you really need to work on that. And I'm like, oh, I do.
That's beautiful. And I think we all can be humbled, but real. And so sometimes we do being humbled and being true to self. They coexist. That coexists, and we have to learn that. Like when I'm a giver. That's my love language. I'm a gifter. I love to give. Sometimes, like when I run out of samples, I give an actual thing, and then like people say, "Why do you do that?" And that's what I'm saying with what I saw on YouTube and what I read, and it was like, wow. But when you do what you do, you're blessing somebody. Even chiropractor, you're still touching, right? People come to pay you to align them, so you're touching, you're putting their feet up. That feels good. You know how many people don't get touched? Human touch.
Yeah, you're right.
And and I'm just saying touch, not there's people, just a human touch, like a hug. So a lot of people will constantly go to certain places where they're getting that human contact. So that's a gift, that's a blessing. You going over, and what I learned is, because I'm a giver, so I don't like gifts, and I tell people don't buy me gifts. I feel very awkward, even when just I don't like them. I always felt awkward receiving gifts. And my friend, my very close, beautiful friend Byron, he says, when you do that, you
Oh,
block
yeah.
their blessings. It was placed in their heart to give you something, to that, whatever that, because they were selected to gift you something. And when you decline it, you're blocking their blessings.
Yes. Yeah. You're right about that. Absolutely.
So we have to be, live in gratitude. And not everybody has good intentions. You should be able to feel that intuitively. Who's who? Gail wrote that she learned how to love someone and not like them. Well, Gail, all my life, when I was asked about my mom, I and or we spoke amongst the siblings, I always said, I love my mom. I just don't like her. And I don't know if you remember me saying that. And that is very, very important to define the difference, because then you can see the person for who they are. Because when we block that, we're only blocking ourselves with that. But Lori has aligned me several times, or however you say it in chiropractic language, and she does. She has a soft touch. It's the energy, you can feel it. There's a vibration there, so I see that. So
I want to
from my
actually add to what Gail wrote too, is when she said, I learned how to love someone and not like them. I've also learned this year that it's also okay not to love somebody, that
Mhm.
there's sometimes an expectation, that this person's in your life and you're supposed to love that person.
Yeah.
And I've learned that that's okay too, that sometimes you really don't love the person and you don't like the person. And I because you have to be true to yourself. Like, just because someone is somebody, like, let's say you grew up with, or it's a family member, you have to do what's right for you. It doesn't mean you have to be disrespectful to the person. It's just to look at it and say, you know what, I don't feel that way about that person. I'm not going to feel guilty about it. There was a time in my life where I felt that way. I no longer feel that way, because there's a reason and a season. That people get placed in our lives for some, for
Reason.
a lifetime, right? Because I know we've talked about this, you've said this numerous times, and it's okay. And I and it's so nice to be able to let that go, let that piece of it go, to be able to just say, I'm okay with that. I don't hate the person. I just don't have any feelings towards the person. And it's not that I'm not a feeling type of person. I mean, in mindfulness we call it non-attachment. It's just saying that, I honor the fact that you're here. You are great for other people. Like, there's other people that feel differently than I do about you, and that's wonderful, that's fine. But as far as our connection, our energetic connection, it it doesn't exist, and I'm okay with that. There was a
Mhm.
time, but no longer. There's actually, I had gone through my Facebook page, I had gone through like LinkedIn. I started to go through my contacts, and I started to actually delete people. And it wasn't deleting them that, oh, I can't stand this person. It wasn't that at all. I looked at that and I said, there's nothing, there's no connection with this person anymore. Like, this person from my past. And there's a couple of people that have periodically, very infrequently, reach out to me, and they're like, oh, we got to get together. We got to schedule a time to talk. and it never happens. And I finally said to myself, you know what? I'm good with that. I don't really want to talk to them. I don't dislike them. I don't really want to talk to them. It
Mhm.
was a wonderful time, not anymore.
It,
So I
you
went on
grew
my,
apart.
yeah, and I just kindly just took them
Hmm.
off, took them off, took them off, took them off. And if the person ever reached out to me, I'm actually not looking forward to it. What I'm saying is that when they reach out to me and say, you know what, it's okay. You know, I so enjoyed our time together when we had it, but I don't think there's any reason to perpetuate anything anymore, like to keep it going, because we don't talk at all, and we always say we're gonna, but it never happens, and that's okay. You know what it reminds me of? Remember in the movie The Under the Tuscan Sun,
Yeah.
when she tries to get together with the Italian guy, the hot Italian guy, and
Yeah, yeah.
it never works, and then she goes to finally see him, and he's like, but he goes, I tried. She's like, oh, you moved on. He goes, but he says, look, we had a wonderful time, and you shouldn't feel guilty about that. It's just we tried, and it just never seemed to work
Didn't
out.
happen.
And we shouldn't have to work that hard. If it was meant to be, we shouldn't have to work that hard. And it's so true, and it's hurtful. She was very hurt when she left, but it was so truthful. It was so he was so honest with her, and we grant that it's a movie, but I thought about that. I'm like, you know, that was the kindest thing he did for her, because she was able to choose whether I'm going to let this go or not. You know, she chose to let it go, but she was sad about it. But
Hmm.
it's very honoring to be that way with somebody. Like I so enjoyed our time together, but we don't have it anymore, and that's
But
okay.
a lot of people are afraid to purge and to let go because then they'll feel there's an emptiness. Milagro, I see you. Milagro says, sorry, I'm driving, but I let
She
idiot
said it
people
let
out.
idiot people out, and she grew her hair out. Oh, we have to see.
Yay.
I want to see
Yeah, and
Milagros' hair.
Marina said they grow out. Listen, um, one of one of the things we've always discussed too, and sometimes, you know, I like to repeat myself in different scenarios in different settings because sometimes when something is said and we are not ready, prepared, or have any desires to want to shift, we don't hear it.
Yes, or we fight it,
Okay, we don't
or
listen
we
to the
fight it.
message, we don't hear the words. So
Yes,
I repeat in different settings because that's my job, that was my purpose on this earth, was to be a messenger, and I know that full well. you know when we walk hearing everything that we've had, right? But we want more. We have a desire to want more, to dream bigger, to stop thinking small, to do all of this stuff. But here we are. We're not going. There's no new doors that will open for us. There's no new anything because why are we carrying on to stuff that we should have let go? When you
yes,
cannot receive anything new if your arms are still holding the
that's
old.
right. That's correct. Yep.
And that's what came to mind when you were sharing because that's one of my favorite movies. That scene because she was wounded by it, and when she ran through the fields behind his car, I thought that was so beautiful. But you know, that's all it was meant to be. He was her season,
Yes,
not her reason. He was somebody that brought laughter after she thought she was broken, after she thought she could never find love or whatever.
yes, that's
And and we all know that that's what I had that brought so much,
your
my
muse.
muse he just lit a fire under me and I was writing nonstop, no matter what it was. And I miss him for that. But what do? You shift and you learn and you get out your pen more. And so then it's relying on somebody, but he just did something like the Italian guy just woke up. It woke her up in places that had never been shaken before. So that's where
Yeah.
all the hurt came from. He was beautiful, and that's what life is about. Thank you for the moments. Thank you for the memories. I will always have a special place for you in my heart, a special place. But I'm filled with me and the learning of me and the reintroduction of myself and the purging of the old self, and the holding on just for a bit longer because the season of that part of Margie isn't over yet. And because I don't want to lose the Margie that brought me to where I'm at today. I just don't need to carry everything she had. And so that's with the introduction. Reintroduce yourself to yourself for different reasons, So with love, with friendship, with family. Just because they're family does not mean you need to hold on. Because I know for the Latinos, esa es la familia. And we always got that drunk uncle and that obnoxious aunt and vice versa, or you get both of them at every party, and then you don't want to go, and then if you don't go, you don't ever hear the end of it, so you feel like you have to. No, we don't. I found myself, I don't go. No, I don't want to go. Concerts, I don't want to go. I don't want to be in a room full of strange people. Just the energy, the demons, everything that are around me. I don't want to make myself accessible to that because I'm still in my growing process. I'm still in that what's next for me process. So if I don't want to go, I don't go. And I don't, if you get offended, then I don't understand why. Go. So I think we're family and we're very close friends that were close at one time, but now, like Badass Buddha said, we have to clean up space. Purging is perfection in your life. You purge your closet, you purge your gavetas, you throw out the little panties that were your favorite because they're 100% cotton, but they got holes all over them. You purge the pots and pans that you don't use, but because so-and-so bought it or you bought it at this, get rid of it. It's taking up space. And when there's around you, there's too many things taking up space. It takes up space here, and it just stunts the growth. It stunts your energy frequency that makes you see things vibrantly, and then you know which way to go in your life. Yeah. So we need you. And Kathy, that's amazing. You got $150 rebate on that. Or that's amazing. That's always amazing to get that. And so we have some other questions, right? Badass?
Yep.
But before we end up on that and the leaving people and valuing them for those moments in your life or what you brought into their life, because, it's a two-way street. Also know that when you have to walk away, say the peace in your heart. I can't do this anymore. No, I won't be going to any more family events, whether it's to protect your children from that or whatever. And remember, when you're saying it from the truth of yourself, you're not saying it with any malice or you're not saying it in any disrespectful form. You're just speaking your truth. No, I will no longer be going to those events, but thank you. It is not your problem nor your business how they understood what you said. Their understanding, you're only responsible for what you say. So make sure you're not saying it out of a place of anger or out of stress or just, ugliness. Say it from your soul, because your soul will speak its truth. No, thank you, but I no longer want to participate. You don't have to say anything derogative about anybody. It don't matter if it's your mama. No, I don't want to. No, we have plans, unfortunately. And then however they interpret it, that's their problem. That's their business.
Yeah, because we can't control that.
You. Yeah, honor who you are. Go ahead.
We can never control how anybody's going to, they are who they are.
But isn't that the number one reason people lie to themselves? The main reason that we lie to ourselves and we don't push the power of no is because oh, we don't want to offend, or what if they think this, and then that has had so much power. And I can only speak for my Latino people, how we have done that for how long, because el que dirán. Oh, then, they're going to get upset, or they're going to say with it, who cares? So let's just worry about where we're at. And if you have children, worry about that. I'll share a good thing. I'm going to be a great grandmother. Whoa. So I have to live and let live. So I'm no longer really sharing unless they ask me to share. Before, I just wanted my family and my friends. Listen, maybe if we do this, and I'm no longer doing that. And I'm so happy, because they never listened anyway. Go ahead, badass.
That's the truth. That's the truth.
Thank you, Vicky.
Listen, if you're trying and they're still saying stuff or behaving a certain way, what's the difference if you pull out, and especially if you say it? I'm this. I can no longer. I no longer want to be a part of this. Like I can't do this anymore, and I'm out, or whatever way you want to say. You said it so eloquently. And then they get mad about that, but they were already having a problem with you anyway. So what's the difference? What's the difference? Then fine. Give them something to
That's
talk
what I'm
about.
saying. Yeah. When we pull that courage up from our center and pull it out, because it's in us. When we pull it out and we take a good look at ourselves, celebrate that you've made it this far. Because we all have a sad story, right? We've all had something, but you made it till today. And obviously, you've made some pretty damn good choices to make it till today. So the courage is within. Pull it out. Pull it out. Look at yourself. Don't overanalyze. Just look at yourself. And then check it. Okay, I don't want to do this anymore. Check it. Put check marks next to things you don't want to do. You just became routine. I was used to it. And then think outside the box. Badass, can I read something?
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to interrupt your part, because
No, well, you were gonna go with more of the questions anyway. So whatever.
Yeah, you have a question after this, but this is something, and I could read it at the end as well, because it's very powerful.
Do it now.
But Gayo, I like that. Nunca te engañes. Don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to yourself and then be upset at yourself because you're lying to yourself, and then you want to point fingers at people around you that are really there for you, but because, I don't know, they sneezed and you didn't like the way they held their hand up. That's how, right? Tell me I'm wrong, Laura. That's how I've noticed people behave. They get angry with themselves for whatever they're doing or not doing, and then they want to find fault in people around them to take it away from themselves. Don't be that.
Yeah,
so
Gail, I said that's what I was doing. That's what I knew better. Like we do a lot of quotes. And so one of my favorite quotes is Maya Angelou: "Do the best you can until you know better, and when you know better, do better." But do you know how many times I've known better and still didn't do better? Because you won't get out of your own way, because you don't want to face certain stuff until you finally want to let that go and say, okay, yep, I'm ready to do better. And that's exactly what I was doing when I knew better, and I just let it slip in. The old little habits slip in.
But did
you have to recognize it? I finally did. Sure, I let it go.
No, but did you see what I'm saying is, from a spiritual point of view, because we're energy, right?
Of course.
So spiritually, you knew that then, but spiritually it wasn't time. See, when we are in our now, like we are right now, we're getting fed, right? We're getting fed all this stuff. And when we make ourselves so busy that we forget about ourselves, then we're not getting the right info, and that's when we make poor choices. But I firmly believe you, badass, are exactly where you are supposed to be today through blood, sweat, and tears.
Yes. Well,
So
let
had
me.
you done better, or have you done something differently just because you read it in a book, or you seen it on a movie, or you just say, oh, I should do better? We are exactly where we are supposed to be. So
I
let's
agree.
stop living
I
and
agree.
what we didn't do right, what choices we made back then. I believe in destiny. I believe in purpose.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
right?
I
So,
because I'll tell you why. Because when this stuff specifically happened to me this summer, it's everything over the last, I'd say, 4 months that has happened to me, like that I was doing something, either I felt that I wasn't doing making the right choice, or saying the right thing, or doing whatever it was, that it became in I finally recognized, became aware of it. Right after that, something would happen with like a patient or a friend of mine, almost the same exact scenario. And now all of a sudden I had all this insight to be able to share with them. And I'm going, okay, yeah, I got you. Thanks. Like, it was almost like I had to go through it because then somebody else needed my help. But it happened so often this summer that I was fine. At the end, I was fine. Like, okay, seriously, like, please already. Like, I get
no
it.
more
Like I said,
downloads.
don't keep putting I don't want to keep putting my foot in my mouth just so I can help somebody else. Just let me help them. I don't want my foot in my mouth anymore. It doesn't taste
Yeah.
good.
Yes, exactly. So, ladies, don't let's leave yesterday exactly where it is. It's in our past. Tomorrow hasn't come yet, and when it does, it's your today. So does tomorrow ever really come? It's the choices you decide to make in your today. So if we say this is where I'm at right now, I am sitting in my studio, and viva café con leche, coño. And that's where I am wholeheartedly, and I'm present, and I'm happy, and I see everybody writing, and even those that don't write, I see you're there. And thank you for showing up for us today, and thank you for showing up for yourself, because that's where we need to be. We need to show ourselves that we matter in where we show up at. What are we giving our energy to? What are we giving our time to? So I feel in the Badass Buddha, we're very grateful. But this is what I'll read it. It's very
Yeah.
short.
No good.
And it's to everybody who's on and everybody who'll read it later, watch it later. It says, make peace with all the women you once were. Lay flowers at their feet. Offer them incense and honey and forgiveness. Honor them and give them your silence. Listen. Bless them and let them be. For they are the bones of the temple you sit in now. For they are the rivers of wisdom leading you towards the sea. I didn't write that. How beautiful is that?
That is. That is.
We would not be the women we are today had we not experienced what we went through. And we didn't miss any opportunity that we would have misused. You know, when I was selling my house, I was actually, I took a long time to sell my house, and then there was a hiccup. And I believe Lori and I had a conversation, and she's like, "Aren't you upset that the house hasn't sold yet?" And I said, no, because obviously it's not time for me to hold that money. You remember that conversation?
No.
And and I said, it's not time for me to have that money. And that's how I felt. And it never stressed me out when it was going to happen. And then it happened like overnight. And the next day I bought tickets to Spain and did my winter camino, because that's what made me happy. And I wanted to celebrate that I was leaving behind a past, a part of my past, so that I can move forward. But God had other plans. And here I am. And again, by choice. So when you say that, from what I read, my favorite part is for they are the bones of the temple you sit in now.
I know.
That is who
I
we
love
are.
that. I'd
Never.
like read the first couple of lines again.
It is make peace with all the women you once were.
I love that. Because we are very hard on ourselves. We're very hard on ourselves of who we used to be, because especially once you're evolving and you've gotten to a better place, you're very happy with yourself. But you look back and you go, I can't believe I was that person. And like, why couldn't I have been the person I am now back 20, 30 years ago? Like, and the point is that you weren't, like, you just weren't. Some people just aren't,
No.
and I love that, because I don't do that. I don't often acknowledge and honor those individuals who were really very lost and very, very, weak. I mean, I'm going to use that word. They were so easily duped. And so I just don't honor that. And it's dishonoring to me, because they're a part of me. They're the past me, but like you said, they're creating the temple that is now me. It's very interesting. Do you know who wrote that?
And this is emotional. I love it. When I had a workshop last March for my journal, and I gave everybody a copy of that who was present at the workshop, because we need to remind ourselves those, the steps to reach our heights. We're still steps we got to do one by one. And that's who we are today. And we are better than what we used to be. So it's growth, it's evolvement. You are where you're supposed to be. And if you know that changes need to be made, then don't be afraid and make those changes. Take the leap for yourself. Because I don't want you to say, oh, I only have with the when we're supposed to, what's our end date, 79, 80. I want to live a full life, but I want to do it energetically. So this year it's all focused on getting it right with me, and really building a consistency with myself, being consistent, having the willpower to be consistent. So and that's where I'm going through. But that little girl to now, she built this temple for me for today. Why? Maybe my bones, she built it, and they're so strong with everything I had to go through, because it carries this extra weight I have on. Maybe it's for protection, I don't know, but it's here, and I gotta love all of it, and then I gotta honor, and then we gotta make changes. Yeah. So I just wanted to read that. Kim. No, I don't know who wrote it. It doesn't say here who wrote it, but I'll try to find it, because that's a good one to have. Now, what was your next question?
Well, so and this kind of rolls into it. So, well, I only had the one, but this is something that I came to a realization over the summer. I came across a couple people, let's put it this way, that we need to honor ourselves and be grateful, because pretty much everybody that's here, because, this has just been the conversation for the 4 years that we were on the air, is that 4.5 is that we we become aware of ourselves, and our goal is to make ourselves better. So honor yourself, even if you skipped a few steps, or you sat down and didn't do anything for a while, and like, oh, I didn't hit this, or I didn't do that. But be grateful that you're aware of it, because I came across a couple of people who are absolutely, totally unaware of who they are, and the way they live their life, and the things that need to change. And I'm saying it based on a judgment on my part, but this is more of it was annoying me with one of these individuals of how is this person not seeing this? How's this person not, like, they never take accountability. They never do this. And then finally I had to say, that's their journey. Like that's their journey.
That is.
And what am I to learn from this is that I don't want to be that person. I don't
Yes.
want to be that person. I want to be very aware and take responsibility for my life, take responsibility for the good, the bad, and the ugly, make the necessary changes, and then take that information and the insight that I've gained and give it back to those that I love that are closest to me, specifically my children, so that I'm a better human. That's my goal. I look at it and say, so how can I make myself a better human? What do I need to work on myself? It angered me when I realized, watching specifically one individual, watching this individual take zero, like zero, constantly angry and using guilt and shaming. And it was just one thing after another. And I go, and then finally when it hit me that they're incapable of the fear is so great that they will just refuse to look at themselves. They refuse to turn inside. That I went from like for a moment feeling bad for them, because I didn't feel bad, because I don't sympathize, because that it's their choice. It was more just compassion. It was more like, well, they will never know what it's like to have to go through that. It is not easy to go through that. It is not easy to come to terms with stuff like that, but it is the best thing you can ever do for yourself, because it allows you to let go. See, when you don't want to admit stuff like that and you refuse to take responsibility, you will never ever fully be able to let go of stuff. And it just sits there and it festers. And no matter what you do, no matter what you try to airs to put out there and put and like, oh, I'm this person, and act a certain way and dress a certain way and buy a big house and fancy cars, you will never ever be happy with yourself, because that is all just piling it on higher and higher to keep you from actually going within and really being true to yourself. And so I was so grateful to have finally gotten to that point, and then to stop and say to myself, you know what, that's not their purpose. If they but I know I froze for a minute. Sorry
Do
about
you
that.
know that everybody has a purpose, and we are supposed to learn from that? That's why we have to stay alert. We have to be observant. We have to listen to what's not being said, because everybody is just like there's every different type of animal. Some animals were put here just to be part of the food chain, but their purpose is for that. So when we see that, don't we can't I bendito it, because that's what their purpose here is. And what is it does for us? Exactly what you said. We learn how not to. We want to place value on people who are successful and look down on those who are not. But if you, at the end of the day, they're all right here, because they're all here doing what they were sent here to do. Question is, are you? Which one are you? Which category do you fall in? And when you decide to introduce yourself to yourself, you're going to have a lot of shifts. And that's why a lot of people are afraid. They're afraid to acknowledge who they are, because then they got to make choices and changes. And if there's anything more frightening to people who don't want to change, is change. People would rather stay stuck knowing that what they've been doing is not good for them, but it's better than going into the unknown of change
Yes, they're
and
comfortable with it.
the what if I
Mhm.
fail? And
Yep.
but what we're really afraid of is what if I succeed and then what? That's the self-sabotage that I'm guilty of.
Yes, me too.
Uh, so do you submit to the fear, or do you welcome the change? Again, the
Do you
choice is
submit
only
to the
yours.
fear, or do you welcome the change?
You cannot blame your past, your present, or whatever's going to be in your future why you're stagnant, why you're not where you believe you should be. That's an inside job. All right. Women of the world, we're the strongest species to ever exist. We're the, we have portals. We're the breeders of life, or we're that perfect auntie that makes all the difference in the world to these kids. But why do we lack that self-trust? We spoke many episodes on cultivating self. Try to go back and read and watch those, and because it's so imperative, especially now. Why did we choose to do Viva now? The holidays are coming, and with the jingles and the pumpkin spice lattes and the arroz con gandule y peining and coquito, and
Oh,
what's the other
poquito.
stuff you drink?
Mm.
What's the other stuff you guys drink? Apple cider. Wait, apple.
What do you mean, you
Apple.
guys? Us white people? Is that what you're saying? You white people, because God forbid you drink coquito.
No, but what, I love it. That
Remember, I
hot
had a
apple
little Puerto
cider.
Rican in me by injection, years ago. So,
Okay, exactly. So, I mean, but along with that comes depression, comes anxiety, and comes stress, and comes, a lot of domestic violence, a lot of suicides. So check in on those you love. Make sure you check in, because, when you ask somebody, how are you? Really, how are you? What do they say?
fine.
I'm fine. And what does fine stand for? Freaked out, insecure, neurotic, and emotional.
Yes. Fine is not
So
fine.
check up on those people, the ones who are always too happy and then they disappear. But for the holidays, just you yourself, put your big girl panties on and face every emotion head on. Because remember, it only comes to you to go through you. It's either to
Yes.
ignite a little fire in you, or it's to kill something off that doesn't belong with you anymore, that you've been carrying for too long. So you have to identify what it is you're feeling and then release it, because things are changing in the world. A lot of things are in the world, and we want to stay true to who we are. We want to stand on our faith. We want to keep our integrity. We want to love. And we want to make sure that we are safe, so that those around us can also choose to be safe. And when we do that, we're living our best lives when we make sure we show up for ourselves in that way. But that's why the holidays are, to me, holidays are holidays. By the way, my birthday falls on Thanksgiving Day this year, and that always makes me happy. And
Oh,
so with that, that's why we decided to do this, because we love our tribe. And as much as we miss you guys, and then when they were like, let's just do, and then I put, one night stand, those were the days. So we go back and just look back on a year, look back 6 months, and look at Gail. I'll ride my dragon and burn the stuff in my way. Kathy, I haven't decorated. I'm working on that. So, and Toji, what do you mean you will? What time? But Lori still has a question, because she hasn't asked really her question. Have you?
well, I kind of said it before. It's about what role did you play? Like in your life this year, what role did you play for the good and what you consider the bad? And like what role did you play? Did you play it the way you thought you would? Did you stumble a little bit like I did? I was doing really good at the beginning of the year, and then in the summertime I stumbled and I started to fall back onto some old habits. And so what role did you play? Because we always do. If we are in any of it, we've played a role. And the reason I asked this question, because I've heard this come up with a conversation that happened with somebody over the summer, and this individual was talking about a situation, and all I heard from this person was that the other person was at fault. The other person is this, the other person is that, and the other person. And never once did I hear that person say what role they played. And I felt it wanting to come out, but I just didn't. I don't know why I didn't, but I actually wished I had said, and what role did you play? Because I'd be curious to see what that person has to say. And it takes a person back when you ask something like that. What role
You should know.
what for yourself?
No, remember when you were going on, when we first started, way before Viva ever was born. And I said, and what did you learn from that?
Oh
And you were
yeah,
like,
I
mad.
was so pissed at you. Oh my god, I just wanted you to complain and let me victimize myself and feel sorry for me and be. You were right. And then nope, you just let me talk, and then you go, and what did you learn? And I'm like, oh.
And we had just like met maybe a couple months before. So
I
don't
think
stop when you
yes.
say
Well, I
that,
think
because
no, I think about a year before, but I was just so, for a split second I was so mad about what you said, but then I think I was more mad. I was like, gosh, she's right. And then I sat and I breathed. I took a breath and then I said it. And I
because
was
remember, every time we're invited somewhere doesn't mean we need to show up. It's just because a space is opened up for us doesn't mean our spirit needs to be there, our energy needs to be there. We got to be very picky on where we give, and so it wasn't for her to be on that show that night, because out of all nights, that's the night it happened with her internet. So that's what we got to take away from stuff. People would have invited me to do this and do that and participate in this. And lately I've been listening to my spirit, and I'm like, no, no, thank you for the offer, but no, I'm going to decline on that one. Celestine Prophecy is one of my favorite books. I read it in 1992, I believe, or right when it was just published. And I've read everyone, the ninth prophecy and the
Oh yeah,
10th.
I didn't. I meant actually reading. I bought that book back when it first came out, and then it disappeared, and then I bought it again in like 2018, and then it sat there, and I started to read it again, and I didn't realize they made three more.
It's
That's why I was making
phenomenal.
a suggestion. I was saying read it. I just spelt it wrong. That's why I rewrote it. Celestine Prophecy, The Let Them Fear, The Alchemist. Read The Alchemist again. These are the things that sometimes we have to reread a book. You've said, how many times have you reread The Alchemist?
10. But let me tell you a quick story. 10. And I was talking to a friend of mine in the Canary Islands the other day, and he asked, that I met on my first Camino. And he said, how many Caminos have you done so far? And I said, I'm planning my sixth one. And he's like, oh my goodness, we were talking. And then he asked that if his father is not doing well, and he wants to see if he can get some ashes. And he says, if I get them, would you be willing to meet me there and walk with me as I spread his ashes across the Camino? Who can say no to that, right? But anyway, so he's like, what you do? So I was telling him what I did on this last Camino, and how I went to Morocco, and how I spent 2 nights in Tarifa. And his first thing was like, oh my goodness, from The Alchemist, when he was in Tarifa waiting to cross over to Morocco. And I have forgotten that. So that's why, pay attention. And the observer, it's good to be, I observe whether I'm going to put my 2 cents in or not. I observe everybody body language first. And then you decide if it's even, what I'm learning is it even worth it anymore. But you're right on that. So yeah, those books. Read. I could read The Alchemist over and over again. I always find something different in it.
Yeah,
Did I
that's
interrupt you?
no, no. I think I'm starting to get tired. Well, we're hitting almost 2 hours, so I think
Yeah,
I,
9:30 is over.
is there
Um,
anything that you wanted to add that you like any of the questions? I mean, we could leave you with the questions too, and then you can just add comments after even after the live broadcast of adding to it. So what else did you have on yours?
mine. Wait, we did the submitting to
I just had the
fear.
one question. Gladiator Guru is always good at doing all that stuff. I like wrote nothing. I just had one question.
You know, because I think I needed to. I think one of the most important questions that I have written down, and please be very honest, was, "Are you happy? Are you happy?" It is so simple, yet hardly ever gets asked truly. Like really, like you know, when somebody says, "How you doing?" and I know like why you asking type of deal. So I said, "Do you want the truth or you want me to lie? Because if you want me to lie, I'm fine." So be honest. Are you happy? Remember, happiness is a choice. And even though there's chaos in your life or things aren't going the way you seem, happiness is still there. You just got to look at it. Say, come up, put some yellow socks on whenever you're feeling confused or a little under the weather or whatever it is you're doing. Savannah puts her yellow socks on because they're happiness to her and it's sunshine. So if you feel gloomy or the gray clouds are following, put some yellow socks on and bring the sun to you and be happy. And just know that you matter because you're still here. And how many people, no matter what age, didn't wake up today and you're
But
here.
that's a really good one. Are you happy? And if you're not, if you're being honest and you're not, then the question is, what can you do about it? What do you need to do about it? What do you because I wasn't happy, and then I realized because I was just distracting myself from myself. But then I was around other people who really, it's like everything, it was always a complaint, and it's always nothing goes their way, and it's not true, because that's not true. That it's There's not nothing that goes a person's way, but they wanted to live in that misery, and I was not willing to sit there with them in it. I just wasn't.
And we
And
shouldn't.
no, and we do
We should
sometimes.
not. We can say, you know how many times I tell people, take that over there because I don't need it in my space. You're interrupting my peace. And if that makes me sound mean, then so be it. Because being mean, if that is being mean because I'm protecting myself, then I would be mean every time you do this. Point blank, period. But with the happiness, like my cousin wrote, sometimes, I wanted to share that even in our worst moments, because, Eric was given 2 to 5 years to live, and he lived 6. But even though he was sick and paralyzed and couldn't swallow, you know, and we knew he had an end date coming up, he was happy because he had that moment. He had that today. And he wasn't thinking about, oh, I'm going to die. Or he wasn't thinking about when I used to walk. He was thinking about, we get to spend today. And it's our choice how we're going to spend today.
That's correct.
And that's where the happiness comes in. Happiness isn't always giggles and laughter and wearing a fake smile all day. It's knowing that you can get through whatever you're dealing with at the moment. So Sarah, working on finding happiness, not sure what that looks like. I'm happy. Like today, I was happy that I got to do stuff in advance, and then I had to deal with the internet here, and then I did everything in advance, so there was no rush in getting here, even though we hit traffic, because I live in Bridgeport now, so driving here to Shelton, there was traffic, and my son and I spoke on the way here, and and I made it in time and I got everything done. So it doesn't matter what's going on in your life. If you have 50% of a positive attitude, a positive mindset, that's 50% of the cure of whatever is happening around you. So be happy, seek happiness, wear your yellow socks on those gloomy moments that you have in your head, and let's be present in our now. And that's what I can tell you. But happiness isn't another person. Happiness isn't another purse. It isn't those name brand boots. It's not the jeans that make your booty look big. It's in here. It's the choice that you're going to say, I choose to see things differently. Okay, everything just broke. My favorite thing just broke. Oh, my car got a tire, but thank God I have AAA, or I can call my brother, or I can do this. There's always an outcome to it. So just choose you. And by choosing you, you choose to see the good in everything that's happening around you.
And it shifts your energy. And so, Sarah, when you said not sure what that looks like, it you'll find it. We've all been at a point. I mean, God, I hit my 10-year anniversary from when like my life completely changed, and then in a few more months I'm going to hit that 10-year mark where I almost killed myself. And it's I look back at that and it just seems so like unreal. Like, wow, was I really that depressed? Like, was I really that bad? And at that point I felt like there was nothing, like I don't even know what that looks like. And then all of a sudden it just shifted. And it was because I was working on myself, but there wasn't really one thing that all of a sudden, just one day, it just all made sense. And I realized that I'm in charge of myself. Like I'm the one that can create this.
Mm-hmm.
What role did I play all those years before that led me to that really bad point in my life because of what happened with my marriage and whatever. But it's like, okay, but now I get to play it the way I want to play it. And that has been such a great feeling. And anytime I get mad or upset about something, my life's not going in the way I wanted to, it's because I'm choosing to play it that way, and I can turn around and play it the other way. But
Isn't that such a blessing that you have
it
the
is.
power to
It is.
flip it?
I got the power.
Now, before we leave, if any of you here can tell what one change you see in either of us, or one change in me and one change in Badass since we started Viva.
And don't say we got older looking. That was a given. We already know that.
Yeah, what have you noticed? At least one thing within each of us. Okay, so with that, can I talk about my product?
Sure.
Okay. For my people who are around in my area, because I don't really like to do shipping unless I really have to. You can't really tell, but these are there's a bag of they're herbal face steams for cold and cough. It removes, you steam, you boil it, you put it in the sink, put a towel over your head, breathe it in, it removes the mucus, stored up mucus and everything, this decongestant. It's really powerful. So I have those. I just picked out a few things here. I have I don't even know what the name. I know I gave it a name, but it is
not ice cream.
No, bath salts. So roses, chamomile, and lavender bath salts. Oh, I like that. Thank you. There's a calmness, absolutely. So I have those, and then I just brought like the Cara Mia facial steam. It's wonderful. I use it twice a week. And
there's another product up and coming that is the offset of that one. Please make sure.
Cara Mia, Toto Mio.
Cara Mia Sur.
It's a womb steam. Oh. And with that, I will be having, for anyone in this area, pretty soon, probably the end of next month before Thanksgiving, I will be having a tea tasting event here. And I just wanted to say I haven't got the actual one yet, but this is the one I had to go through. I just wrote a book. It's my tea book.
Right.
And what it is, it describes all the tea. Come on, everybody, clap for me. So, like, I'll give you I'll show you one. Like this one is my bedtime anti-anxiety tea. Look how beautiful that is.
And just to let you know that when you drink that tea, that actually happens. Your clothes fall off, and you just
yes, it does, because that's what we do. And yeah, so that this is the actual book would be part of the entry fee when you come for the tea tasting thing. So déjate querer el tea temple. So that's one of the things I've done. It's I don't know if I shift the studio with the thing, if it's gonna be like.
Well, Sarah wants to know when you're actually in your studio. Like, do they reach out to you if they want to come in
on the weekend, Sarah?
Okay, there you go. Weekends.
And then that's my apothecary right there, all my herbs. And then over here is my painting area. My books, all our books are there. And then this is just a wall where I put all the stuff there. And then over here is Iris's bohemian corner, where she sews all bohemian bags and everything. But this is the main focal point. The woman
I posed for that. I posed for that, by the way.
Yes, she did. She did. Okay, Milagros, I will. Thank you for those who said anything about what they see changed in us. And yeah, I believe we're calmer because I think we've introduced ourselves to ourselves. The accountability is at 100% for what we've done. We take, you know what? We can't change how we believe we failed ourselves in the past. We can't change that. You can't unring a bell. So if you believe you failed yourself in the past, you know what? Get up, brush yourself off, and keep walking, because as that thing, the poem said, she created those 30 bones for our today. So you didn't make a poor choice. That was your choice at that time. And then we move forward from it. So we do have a calmness because of that. And because we are where we know we need to be in our now. And one thing I'll share with you that is very hard for me, very hard. But I said, if I can get through 2 hours of it, I'm doing good. I don't know if anybody noticed that if I didn't, I said very few curse words.
That what?
Profanity.
Oh, yes. What the fuck did you say? No, I'm kidding.
Yes. And it's not for anything other than I wanted to challenge myself.
That's good. That's very
and
nice.
Just use less, again, because moving out of survival mode into where I'm at today is not easy. It's not. She's she was my gladiator warrior. La Margarita's always been there, my protector, So
I snorted.
So yeah, change is good. Even the ones we didn't want. We learn how to sit with ourselves, and then we learn how to navigate our lives, not our children's, and in my case, my grandchildren's, not our partners, not our jobs, but ourselves. And that's how we create.
Why do we want to go any further? If you think about it, right? Why would we even want to navigate anybody else? Because it's like herding cats. Just focus on yourself. because that's the only one, that's the only true change anyway. And just, if you have children or grandchildren that you're in charge of, anybody who's under a certain age, yes, you have to assist them. But adults, they're grown-ass adults. Just stop trying to worry about what they do. Let it go and just focus on you. That is it.
Yeah, it's not even about what they do, it's what we perceive they should do as parents.
That's right. What
So
they
the
should do.
fear. So
Mhm.
I spoke a lot about fear because I've never been a fearful person, but this is where we're at right now, and not, I caught it. Not that I'm living it. I caught it, because I was that
Oh,
middle
sorry.
child they warned you about, right? So I did whatever I wanted to do, when I wanted to do it, how I wanted to do it, and I have no regrets. But then it's like we're fearful for the rest. But I don't know what's in our future, if we're gonna do one again, or what are we going to do again. All I know is I really, really, really enjoyed coming together tonight as we're closing. I really enjoyed Gail, all of you, Nancy,
Yes.
all of the tribe, Tiffany,
Arlen,
Milagros, Biggie
Tony,
Doji,
who else? Milagros, Lynn, Kathy,
Marina. I mean, sorry if
Marina,
I miss you. So
Carmen,
this was,
a couple of
this
guys.
warmed my heart. Coming here, doing 2 hours is nothing. It goes by quick. Um, so this is something that I love. This right here, and sharing. Thank you all for participating and sharing. And remember, the holidays are coming up. Things are going to be stressful. Don't be stressful. Let shit roll as it's supposed to roll.
Yes.
Let it go.
Let it go.
You're not going to have the perfect pumpkin pie. You probably forget to get the pie. Who cares? Just enjoy where you at with the people you're with and what you have to eat. And then let's just know that, okay, we didn't happen this time, on next holiday we'll tighten up. There's always a plan B, is what I'm trying to say.
Yes. And the C and the D. Well, thank you everybody for coming, and we're going to have to do our sign out as we did before. So yes, there's Miss Tiffany. Love you. We love you too. And yes, Gail, you'll see us again, I'm sure. So from the Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
And from the Gladiator Guru, mi gente, remember to breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. And by the way, I have 2 T's named that.
And that's
So
where it's okay. That's where it's okay. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.